This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of another purge of the BS, sanctioned by the First Amendment. Frustration levels 0 to 100 have been authorized for use during this purge. All weapons are restricted. Government officials have not been granted immunity from the purge of the BS and shall undoubtedly receive the smoke. Commencing at the sound of the gong, any and all BS, especially unnecessary goofiness, will be purged without prejudice. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be available, but they will be busy because they too will be watching the purge of the BS. Blessed be those who have already been victims of some BS. May God be with you all.
Once again, we are live. Let me make sure my camera's right here. Hold on. I got to get my whole situation in here. Thank you once again for joining another Purge of the BS. I think my audio is good. If I'm too loud, let me know. If I'm too quiet, let me know in the chat. Special shouts to Al Bond and IMZ, my top two, you know, my sergeant at arms and the vice president, so to speak, right there with me. It's been a minute. So I got a couple of things I got to cover today. But as usual, since we're here on the Purge of the BS, I must remind everybody that this content and all content that you might see on this channel for the sole purposes of raising awareness and funding for fair chance hiring and employment services through Freeman Services Group, LLC. Make sure you check out Freeman Services Group, LLC at www.freemansvcs.org. So with that being said, let's purge. Okay, guys, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I had a little bit of technical issues trying to get things started up today. So we're going to just dive right into it. Anybody that comes into the channel later, make sure that you like and subscribe. Share the live. If you're on a desktop or TV, make sure you're looking at the full HD version of the live. And if you're on your mobile device, tablet, you can also check it out on the vertical feed. So thank you guys for the support on both ends, trying to make it good for everybody. So anyway, I am going to get into it because this episode is called The Fix. Sometimes the fix is already in and we're just kind of playing the game along the sidelines. And we're going to get into a few things today that might be uncomfortable for a few, okay? Just going to be honest, because this is Purge of the BS. So sometimes BS is uncomfortable because it stinks and it gets in your eyes and makes your eyes water a little bit. So I'm going to bring over my first clip, and this is more of a feel-good clip. I got a clip from the comedian Schuler King, who I follow on Instagram and I want to say on YouTube as well. But basically, he was responding to a recent story regarding Cenat. And I'm getting this out the way because there was a lot of talk about Cenat and the streamer guys about a week ago because of the BET Awards and the situation that happened with Guy Tylil. If you didn't see my episode about that, it was a lot of talk. And come to find out that Cenat did not accept payment for going to the BET Awards, streaming at the BET Awards, or announcing whomever he had to give I forgot who he had to give an award to, but he actually announced an award. And he didn't get paid for any of this. Now, it wasn't that they wouldn't pay him, it was that he didn't want them to pay him. And according to him, it was because that payment might have him say or do things that he's not really comfortable with. So I'm going to take you through Schuler King's response to it, and we'll laugh a little bit at that. But let's see what we got going on. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, they said Cenat denied. He refused to accept getting paid for the BET Awards because it may compromise the authenticity. It may pressure him to speak positively. You know, a lot of time, what he has figured out, what a lot of people have to learn after they become successful, is that money is not as important as it seems.
It's important when you're broke.
A lot of time, people try to make money the most important thing on earth. That is just the end all to be all. You know what I mean? Everything, like money just cure everything. Money cure cancer. Money bring your hair back. You know what I mean? That's everything. It's just, but it is not.
Hold on. He said money will bring your hair back. You can buy hair. I know he knows this. I'm just saying, like, you can buy hair. So that was a bad example. You can put your hair right back. It ain't got to go nowhere. You can use the Bosley system if you need to, but if not, you can always just get a little man unit, you know, or a woman unit, whatever your flavor.
It's not. Sometimes you got to walk away from the bag when it don't line up with your purpose. You got to.
Now that's point. That's
you
the
got
point.
to. Hats off to him. Sometimes no, hey, I'm cool. Y'all ain't gonna buy my silence. That's how that day. You know. Now me personally, I want to know what kind of bag it was, because then I would have made my call based on that. Depending on what we talking about. You say, hey man, we give you $20 million. Just make sure you say positive things about the award show. I'm gonna take that $20 million. Authenticity does not matter to me that much if we talking about $20 million. It could be one of the worst events in the world, and this may be a reach. Some of y'all might even get mad at me for saying that. If somebody offered me $20 million to sit through a Klan meeting, I'll be right there. Unoffended. Let them talk. We're losing everything and we're going to take over. I'll be sitting there playing Candy Crush, not paying attention to nothing. Because I'm going to get mine.
All right, so I put a poll in there real quick. Do you guys think the guy Cenat should have taken
$20 million? Just make sure.
$20 million. I don't know if it's $20 million. I hope it's not, because I would have said take that. I'm sorry, $20 million is hard to turn down. Now it depends on what they're asking you to do for $20 million. And I guess you can ask yourselves, on a personal note, you know, what would you do for $20 million? I damn sure would announce an award at the BET Awards for $20 million. So I don't think that's the actual number. I might have to look it up. Let me see. How much was Cenat offered? Nobody knows. All right, so he could have. Nobody says an exact number. Oh, geez. 60 million? Yo. All right, I got to pause there. $60 million? Nah, man, that's a lie. That's a lie. This has got to be fake news. This has got to be fake news. This has got to be fake news. Where does it say 60 million? All right, well, we'll let Cenat explain it.
Money comes with a certain narrative. With money comes with a certain narrative you gotta push. So like if you get paid to go to certain these things, they're gonna want you to speak good and only good about these things. So that's why like I don't really like. That's why I don't be taking it, because it's like with money, it's like, yo, we paid you to be here, and why are you not acting like, you know? So that's where it gets dangerous at. So that's why you know what? That's why I say like you can't take money in a lot of situations. It's not. I'm
gonna pause that real quick. I want to say this. I was not really following Cenat. Like, you know, with different generations, he's doing something a little different. And I wasn't really paying attention to the guy. But recently, of course, since he's so popular, of course, he's making his way across the headlines. And I must say, I respect him. I've seen how he's conducted himself in public, even at these award shows, the kind of things he's saying right now. And he's not giving a lot of bad information to younger people as far as like how to deal with streaming and how to deal with having money. He's not caught in any scandals, at least not yet. You never know. It might come out 30 years from now that he did something crazy. But I just want to give Cenat a quick applause here, because I think he's doing something that a lot of people would love to do, and he seems humble about it. I like I said, I wasn't really following him, but he's been so popular lately, I really said, let me pay attention to this guy and see what it is he's working on. And I've seen him interact with people. He's respectful. You know, he didn't know who Wale was, and that was a thing. But damn it, Wale ain't had an album since Cenat was like 2. So, whatever. Got to get over that, Wale. What that means is, Wale, get back in the studio so you can become relevant to the new guys like Cenat. That's what that should be. Should be a motivator, really. But anyway, this applause is for Cenat. I'm going to give it to the young brother. Go ahead, young brother. Go ahead, young brother. Get your bag, get your life, make your history. But I'll let him finish his statement about the money thing here. Well, he said it.
Because then you're limited to your true thoughts on certain situations and things, you know? With money.
That's very profound. So with money, you do get limited, or somebody pays you money, they limit you to what you can and cannot say. But for 60 million, though? 60 million, though? You know what? I'm going to be honest. For 60 million, I'll run the Klan rally. You understand what I'm saying? I will be the guy up front talking. For 60 million, I will get up front and talk and let it be televised for 60 million. Shouts to Purple Groovy jumping into the chat. I see you over there. Yeah, for $60 million, I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't have turned that 60 million down. Unless they were talking about you got to go let Diddy do something to you or something crazy like that. But I would at least said yes and then let them make a request that I don't want to do, and then I could be like, you know what, y'all keep that 60 million. I didn't know y'all were going to ask me to do X, Y, Z. But yeah, I'm not turning down 60 million, though. And you know what that says? If you can turn down 60 million, then you already doing really, really well. To the point where 60 million is something you can say, it's not a big deal. I'll get it again. That is awesome. So shouts once again to Kai Cenat. I see what he's saying, but I wonder, what would the folks at the BET Awards want him to stand on that he would be denying $60 million to do it? That's what I worry about. I definitely know that there must have been something said. Like, how do you just turn down 60 million? You don't even know what they're going to ask you to do. Like, that's negotiable. We got to have a conversation. Are we going to do this way? 60 million? Didn't Dave Chappelle turn down, what was it, 50 million? That's more than Dave Chappelle turned down for Chappelle's show when he went to Africa. And he said something similar about the money and all this other stuff. But I'm trying to figure out how the appearance at BET Awards, first of all, is worth $60 million. Like I said, I need to confirm that, but that was what I read, was he reportedly turned down $60 million. That's crazy to me. So, Kai Cenat, you all right with me, but I told you, 60 million, there's a lot of, we can negotiate a lot of things when 60 million on the line. Like I said, I will get up, I will do, you know what, I ain't gonna say that. I'm not trying to get flagged on this video. I've been going through that too much lately, but y'all understand what I'm saying. $60 million, a lot of people do stuff for way less than that. For $40 in a bus pass that you could get certain things done. 60 million? I'll bleach my skin. I ain't even playing. I'll be what? You want me to do something different with my hair? No problem. What kind of outfits you want me to wear? Now, I ain't gonna wear no dress, but I'll wear something that I wouldn't normally wear. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean no dresses or nothing, but I would definitely put on some fashion forward bullshit with spike shoulders or something on it, looking like somebody from the movie The Cell or something, and go to a award show for 60 million. Yeah. But anyway, I'm done with this guy. 60 billion. I don't know. Y'all can turn it down. I don't see anybody in the chat saying they would turn down 60 million. Like, we got to talk. If that's what's on the line, we're going to have a conversation about what you're asking before I just say, no, I don't want it because you might ask for something. They haven't asked for nothing. $60 million. Yeah, let's go have a meal and discuss. That's all I'm saying. So nonetheless, let's get into our next piece here. Since we're talking about money, since money's like a thing, this past weekend, I was privileged enough to stop by a few protests, a couple of protests there. The No Kings protest, right? And special shouts, respect due to the people that put it together, because that was pretty big. They coordinated well. They got the information out to a lot of people very fast, and people responded. So from that side of it, respect. But immediately thereafter,
all right, just the news.
As for anything, somebody's got to go and break it down, so somebody's not going to like what they saw. And Bill O'Reilly went out on his channel. Is that SMBC? Whatever the hell his channel is, right? And he basically broke down who funded it, and it was very good information. I just wanted y'all to listen to it. I'm having no opinion of it right now. We'll discuss it at the end. But I want you to see this quick 2-minute video. And if you haven't done so, hit the damn like button. No better.
All right, just the news. This is an unbelievable story. I got to give full credit to John Solomon for this story. Just the News is a news agency like BillO'Reilly.com, and it's independent. So they did some research to find out who pays for these kinds of demonstrations in Los Angeles, okay? Well, the main agency is the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. This is funded by people like the George Soros Open Society Foundation.
Soros
pours
again?
a lot of money into it.
Why is Soros
and then
always...
these
Hold
people
on a second.
organize the protests.
Whoa, wait a second. Did they say Soros did this again? Why is Soros always the guy? If that's a problem, why don't they just stop that as a problem? I guess you can't stop a person from putting their money where they want to, if they got it. But I always wonder, like, if Soros is funding destruction, what's he getting out of that? Like, does he get a kickback from somebody? How does he make money off of things getting messed up? Or, like, dissent in the streets? How does he, as a businessman, make money with that? I don't know. I always wondered that. Like, I get it. Everybody says Soros does everything. But I'm like, why would he put that much money out if he's not getting money back? And if he is getting money back, how does he get that money back by funding a riot? I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to dig into that a little bit later because I really want to know. I hate always hearing this guy's name, but I'm like, it doesn't make sense that he has that much if he's giving that much, unless he's somehow getting it back on the back end. So I don't know. But anyway, let's let O'Reilly finish his
money into it. And then these people organize the protests. Mm-hmm. But this isn't the worst part about this. The state of California finances another group, okay? And it is called the LA Rapid Response Network. It also finances, the state of California, the Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights. So that's tax money. They're going into this organization. So during fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, the Coalition for Humane Immigration received from the state of California $34 million. $34 million. So the state of California paid for those rides.
What?
With tax money.
Oh.
Hear that anywhere else? John Solomon had it.
Well, now you heard it on Purge the BS. But if that's, they you know how they always say follow the money, right? In this case, they followed the money, and it went back to basically the state of California was using taxpayer money to fund their own riots. Now, maybe that wasn't the initial intent. Maybe that's what ended up happening, but that is what happened. Now, I'll say this. I did go to a few protests, and I didn't see nothing crazy. I heard there were a few isolated incidents across the country, but if you get that many people out in the street on a Saturday, something's bound to happen. So, I think, honestly, they made out pretty well. The protests that I was part of, and not necessarily part of, but that I was present for, I wanted to say, it was very peaceful. And most of the people out there had their own thing that they were mad about. It wasn't, I thought it was supposed to be a protest against deportation, but the protesters that I saw, I didn't see no Mexican flags. You feel me? I didn't see no Mexican flags flying around. I saw plenty of U.S. flags. I saw a person in a Statue of Liberty outfit. I saw, a person dressed up as a big Trump baby, things like that. But I did not see any foreign flags. Not Palestine, not Israel, not none of that. All I saw was American flags. So I started paying a little closer attention to what everybody's signs were saying, right? And I will say this, in the area that I was in, and I went to 2 different events, both of those events, nobody mentioned immigration at all. Nobody was mentioning it. They were mad about Social Security. They were mad about, something else. But most people, they just had signs that said like no kings but Christ, which I firmly agree with, things like that. But nobody was saying anything about deportation. They just had their own little personal gripes. They drew up their little signs. And that's why I guess the title No Kings made way more sense than No Deportations. Because if they would have said just that's what we're standing on, the people I saw wouldn't have been there. So it was smart of them to broaden the cause so that they could get people with other causes to latch on. And that's what they did. But California, where most of the destruction kind of stuff was happening, apparently was funded by their own taxpayer dollars to do so. That's kind of weird, kind of wild, but it's not unexpected because there's all this money flowing around in the back. We don't touch it. But when I did my episode about them offering me money to be a protester, people just looked at me like I was crazy. It's a paid job for some. For others, it's genuine. It's organic. They come out there like the people I saw who were out there because they wanted Social Security to have certain things, or they didn't like the fact that he was renaming certain monuments and stuff. Like, everybody had some different thing they didn't like. So it was organic. It was real. And it also wasn't destructive. It was just people supporting the fact that there's some things they don't like. And I didn't see anything wrong with that. I see something wrong with people flying foreign flags and setting the U.S. flag on fire in the middle of one of the, richest areas of the United States. It seems ass backwards to me, and all of those people should go to jail. So I have no sympathy for the ones that got locked up for doing goofy stuff, because where I was at, I didn't see nobody get locked up. And there was thousands of people out there. And they all did what they came to do, which was speak their little piece. And then they went home, which is what I expect of rational human beings. But I want to ask the follow-up question, what was the result? What was the actual result of the protest? Did anything change? Did Trump come on and say, you know what, because of these protests today, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, or I'm not going to do X, Y, Z? Did anything change in legislation? Was there even a talk of it? Today's Tuesday. It's not even trending anymore. Protests were for nothing, but it was a nice day out. It was nice to see people outside and interacting with each other, and the vibes were good. But at the end of the day, a protest is supposed to have a point. Like, there's an end game to what you're doing. There's something you want done. Nothing changed. Nobody's come on and said, we're going to do something. And nobody's calling for anything different. So it was really just a show similar to what Trump was doing in D.C. with the military. It was all just for show, guys. Nothing changed. Everything's still the same. He's still the president. People are still shooting rockets. Parents are still beefing. The black community's still going through what it's going. Ain't nothing changed. Nothing changed but the date. Okay? So, nonetheless, you know what did change? I'm going to show y'all the next story here. But like I said, I'm done with this guy. I'm done with the protest specifically because, like I said, it was a fun time. But what happened? Absolutely nothing. So we went outside, and we just went outside. which is what you should have been doing on a Saturday anyway. So congratulations, No Kings folks and the Trump folks. You got everybody to come outside for it. But that's all that's going to happen. So let me get to this next. We're about to get in trouble. It's time to get in trouble. It is time to get in trouble. Hey, if you're just coming into the channel, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button. I have been battling with the AI recently. And so things are kind of crazy over here on the channel, but I'm a show up regardless. So for everybody that is able to get the notifications and able to see the show, you got to do your part too, which is to like, share, comment, throw in a super chat, whatever your feel is, you do it. But interactivity is what really helps. And hit them little reactions, little reactions that do the heart and all that stuff. That stuff on this side of the screen for the vertical guy. All right. So we're gonna get into this next piece here because it kind of piggybacks off of this whole No Kings protest, right? Because the last question I asked was, what was accomplished? I'm an accomplisher. I like doing things with purpose, having a goal, reaching said goal, and being able to say, okay, this is what I did this for. Now we're here. Recently, this is crazy. Story came out. Y'all can feel how you want to feel. I'm not even gonna let y'all get me upset per se. But the NAACP, also known as the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, whoever those people are now, because colored is an old statement, and I don't really think that people like to be considered that anymore, but they never changed the name. I just think they need to update the name. I feel like the name is very dated, and it doesn't cover the newer Negro, because we don't consider ourselves colored people. Maybe people of color, but that encompasses more than just black people. See what I'm saying? So people of color is like anybody that's got some melanin. Colored people, in American terminology, was how they segregated bathrooms, colored and whites. So I wanted to bring you guys this story about the NAACP. Let me bring this on over for you so we can discuss. So the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, in their quest to advance colored people, has decided to not invite Trump to the cookout, which is the NAACP convention. And they broke a 116-year tradition in doing so. Now, I think this is something worth talking about, because after 116 years ago was a long time, and I'm sure the presidents of that time were way more racist than like the Trump administration. Not saying that there's not some racists involved in there and some people that have some, prejudices and things like that, but I know 100 plus years ago, it was way worse. And even those presidents were invited to this. Sabrina Scott, thank you for stopping in there, jumping in the chat here. We do understand when they talk about colored people now, it isn't just black people, but the terminology, it would be like if we just all of a sudden said everybody's niggas now, right? And the people to whom that terminology was at some point offensive and they didn't take it on. We didn't start calling each other coloreds after that. To us, it's still somewhat degrading to be considered that. It's an old term. And those were people who were fully marginalized. Now, I don't want to say let's forget the history, but I'm just saying colored people should be all people of color, if that's what we're going to be talking about. So I get what you're saying, Sabrina Scott. But this is the thing. The NAACP back in 1909, when they started, was not for people of color. It was for black people, American black people who were going through segregation, racism. It was specifically for that, and that's where the name came from. We may have justified the name differently later because they didn't want to go do different patents or trademarks, but that's who it was for. It was for colored people who were black freed slaves living in America who were being marginalized, discriminated upon, and so on and so forth. You know what was going on in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Everybody knows that. So yes, just like everything else, we have now tried to incorporate all types of other people into the terminology that was initially included or intended for the American Negro, who was normally a product of slavery or was a product of freed slaves in America, because they all dealt with things, especially if they traveled around. So this is the thing I want y'all to understand. If this organization, let's just take it to the root, is for the advancement of black American people, I'm going to say it that way because I just don't like saying colored people. I don't like it. Actually, I don't like that more than I don't like the N-word. That's weird, right? But this is supposed to be for the advancement of everyone, right? How does not inviting the president to your convention for the first time in 116 years advance said colored people? How is that advancing these people? That's not advancement. That's some goofiness. But let me tell you more importantly, the NAACP is supposed to be like a church to a degree. It's not supposed to have a political affiliation. So if you decide, that's why all the other presidents were invited, Republican or Democrat. It didn't matter. You see what I'm saying? Because it wasn't about a political stance. It was about an overall assistance that was going to be needed by whomever or from whoever was the president. So they never did this before. So why now, in 2025, is the NAACP making a decision on which political party it will support? Now, granted, you can vote for whoever you want to, but this organization has clashed with this president more so than anybody else. To what end? What are they supposed to get out of this? How is this helping the black conservatives? Let's say there's some black conservatives out there who do support the NAACP, but they also support the president that they voted for. They're going to feel as if this is disrespectful to the office of president, which is not what the NAACP is supposed to be doing. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't, everybody, yeah, you got to stand on something. What NAACP does is stand on a lot of other shit that actually does directly affect the so-called black community that they represent. You don't see them show up. It's only Al Sharpton and the goofies that show up trying to do some goofy boycotts at Target and stuff like that. The NAACP ain't showing up for black people like that. So why make this stance instead of, I hate to say it, extend the olive branch and have the conversation? Whatever your gripe is with the man, you got to discuss it, because you're supposed to be advancing other people, and you're not advancing them by beefing with the damn president. What if, and I'm going to take y'all down a little path here. Let me just take y'all down a path here. What if Donald J. Trump makes the decision that the NAACP and its racial ideology is against DEI policies, and then all of a sudden he dubs them as like a terrorist organization? Think about it. It says that national, colored people, black people. His entire thing has been to erase racism by making it disappear. Not taking it out of people's heads, but removing the things that remind people of racism. That's Trump's solution to racism, is let's just remove anything that reminds people of racism. So let's rename monuments. Let's rename this. Let's get rid of the Emmett Till display at the African American Museum because it has Emmett Till's mutilated body picture in there, and it stokes racial, anger. and these are real things. I'm not just talking. This is real stuff that's been happening. It's to erase it. Similar to how Morgan Freeman said, if you want to stop racism, stop talking about it. So Trump's idea is, let's just take away things that are like reminding us of the worst racial times, right? And instead of getting into people's heads and really helping them understand some things about culture, let's just forget about it. He's going straight New York on it. Hey, forget about it. That's what he wants people to do. Well, we're not going to be able to do that. So NAACP, I need you to not be able to do that because your position is not a political one. It's a social position. It is not for y'all to be deciding what party you necessarily support. Now, we all know that for the most part, Black America supports the Democrat Party. We know this. But that never stopped the NAACP from inviting Republican presidents to their convention. There's been a few Republican presidents in the last 116 years, and every last one of them got an invite. So what are we doing now? Let's start beefing with this guy Trump, who wants nothing more than for you to keep messing with him so he can show you how powerful he is. Think about it. He could easily say, I don't want that kind of racial diversity and division that the NAACP, still using the term colored people from a very well-known Jim Crow time, that stokes racial anger. Their name at its root goes against what he's been talking about. That whole executive order about DEI, this and all that kind of stuff, the NAACP could be considered going against that racial equality thing he's trying to go for, and he can get them shut the hell down. They will not be able to do shit. So at minimum, you can invite the man to the cookout. And if you have a gripe, have a conversation. Hey, at least it'll get people watching y'all. Like if let's say you have a debate or whatever, you sit them on a stage, people will pay attention and you'll get to get your message out to him and anybody that's watching. But by not bringing him there, you're isolating yourself and you're picking a political party at that point. And not everybody that supports the NAACP supports a specific political party. So think about that. When you're donating to the NAACP, you're donating to them to keep things even keel and go for, no discrimination and all that kind of stuff for everybody, really, but definitely Black people. But there are Black people on both sides. So if you decide that now the NAACP, we are part of not that political party. I don't know if they specifically said anything about Democrat. What I'm saying is all the other Republican presidents got invited. And I know a few of them that were not the nicest to Black people. So why now are you deciding to take sides? You don't think you need the office of the president no more? You don't need the president's assistance in getting some of the shit pushed through that you want pushed through? If there's anything y'all are pushing through. Because when was the last time the NAACP was really pushing on something that I know of? It's been a minute. Just Al Sharpton, big head ass, always showing up somewhere trying to talk about protesting. But he's never protested stuff that actually helps Black people at this point. None of them do. They're self-serving. They're gatekeepers. Even this situation is gatekeeping. Trump probably wouldn't have shown up to the damn thing. He don't like them anyway. But you send the invite so that when they decline the invite, now all of the heat comes to them. So if they would have invited him and he said, I'm not going, then people could have been like, oh, Trump's a racist. He's not going to the NAACP convention. And then all of the stuff would have been on him. But not putting out the invite makes a stand that not everybody who supports the NAACP was willing to make. And that's the part I don't like. It's like you dragging everybody that might have supported your organization into a stance that they may not share with you. So instead of taking a political side, do what the hell y'all been doing for the last 100+ years since you started and send the damn invite. Don't start no shit with this man. Not right now. Nope. He got wars and stuff going on. He will make no qualms against shutting y'all whole situation down because you have identified yourself as only being for the advancement of colored people. And that goes against the racial, non-discriminatory, merit-based society that Trump is trying to write into law through executive order. Stop playing with the people that's making your food while they're still making it. That's a stupid move, NAACP, and I don't know who's supporting this, but that was dumb. They don't need to take a political side. That's not y'all job. It's not y'all job. You're supposed to be impartial and utilize the networking so that you can get things done for the advancement of colored people. You did not advance colored people with that movement, and I don't support it, and I'm freaking done with this shit. Next story. They got me mad, man. They got me mad. I'm sorry. They got me upset with that. Because that's why it's on Purge the BS. That's bullshit. Y'all bringing it on yourself. That's all I'm saying. They bringing it on themselves. Watch when he knee-jerk responds and says we can't have organizations that specifically target a particular race getting better. And he says that's against the law. Watch who go down first. Gonna be the NAACP. Y'all got all black people running stuff. You were doing better before when you had Rachel Dolezal. At least she was white but looked black. We just didn't know. But let's be real here, guys. You playing with the bear. If you know the bear is aggressive, stop poking the damn thing. Dummy. Anyway. Sorry, man, that's frustrating. You just gonna take a side. Ain't nobody got the time for that. Y'all supposed to be trying to figure out why we not getting grants for small businesses and shit. Over there trying to take a stand at the cookout. So Trump's not invited to the cookout no more. Or at least the NAACP cookout. I'm sure there's plenty of people out here that would at least want to have a conversation to push their particular agenda. You can't cut out the people with the power if you want something done. Because you don't have the power to do it. So you need to keep these. You don't have to like a person. But if they're in a particular position, you respect the position and you use their position to get what you need done. And you ain't got to be phony about that. People know when you don't like them, but you're good for business. Like there's plenty of people that are in business with each other that aren't friends. But hey, this guy gets money, I get money, we get money, our families are good. Hey, I don't like them, but working together is a net positive. So let's keep doing that. So anyway. All right, guys. Hey, make sure if you're just getting in here, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share either stream. You could be doing the live stream on vertical or horizontal. Just make sure you share it with somebody, okay? And special shouts to Big Shid 215 jumping in there. Sabrina Scott in the chat as well. And Purple Groovy. Good to see you. All right. So I'm going to take y'all to a story that is going to hit home, okay? Going to hit home for many. You guys may or may not know R. Kelly's in jail, okay? And R. Kelly isn't just in jail, but now there seems to be, or at least he's saying, there is a plot to take him out. Now, let me tell you what happened. Bring the story over. All ready? We're doing good on time, too. All right, so R. Kelly has been hospitalized after a prison drug overdose. An alleged murder plot, okay? And what the story is let me see if they do the story here. I hate they got these ads, and I'm not paying for this. I don't care. Come on, hurry up. Doesn't even have a, here we go. I was about to say it doesn't have. Oh, it doesn't even have no talking, but we'll look at it anyway. So basically, R. Kelly is in the hospital right now from a drug overdose that happened while he was in jail. On, what is it? I can't remember it right now. PC. Protective custody. There you go. So he's on protective custody. He's like isolated. And apparently he overdosed on some drugs. This is a new story, just came down the pipe about 2 or 3 hours ago. But we'll see what's going on. All right. Okay, so there's a filing. I don't know if y'all can see the bottom here. Y'all can't see. How's it see? Ah, man, it didn't help at all. Much. So, but nonetheless, there's apparently a filing that was made that included one of the White Aryan Brotherhood members who was stating that he had been offered his freedom if he took out Kells. And so somehow that turned into what they say is the prison staff brought him his meds, his regular medication, I guess, because in jail, and we're going to get into that in the next segment, in jail, everybody's on medication. In jail and prison, they try to put everybody on medication, some medication, because somebody gets paid for them being on that medication. So they'll give you excuses to end up on a medication. I know some people go into jail not addicted to anything and come out with an addiction to something that the jail gave them. And I'm saying jail, but I also mean prison, because there is a difference. Jail and prison are a little bit different. Not even a little bit different, very different. But both places fill you full of drugs. So anyway, the Ignition Singers legal team in a June 17 filing obtained by USA Today claims that after being placed in solitary confinement, prison staff provided him an overdose quantity of medication on June 12th compared to his normal anxiety and sleep medication dosages, leading to his hospitalization last Friday. According to the filing, Kelly was forcibly removed from the hospital in Durham against medical advice. The Bureau of Prisons declined to comment, citing pending litigation. So there is a case going on, and he's been serving his sentence since 2022. But what he's asking for is he wants President Trump to pardon him due to the fact that he feels his life is in danger. Says that he fears he's going to be killed in jail. And apparently, there may be some credence to it because they're ODing him on drugs. Now, when it comes to ODing on drugs, unless somebody ties you down and like force feeds you some drugs, you kind of have to be willing to take them. If you see something different than what's your prescription, I'm sure he asked, hey, what's this? And they probably said, oh, don't worry, that's a new thing that the docs gave you. But that's going to be tough. Actually, it's not going to be tough. What they need to do is a blood test. If they find certain traces of things or there's too much of something, then they can go deal with the guards and figure out what's going on. But basically, he woke up feeling dizzy after he had been, they said leading up to the alleged overdose, Kelly was placed in solitary confinement on June 10th, shortly after his team filed an emergency motion for his release from prison last week. He alleged that the Bureau of Prisons officials devised the plot to have him killed by another inmate. And the other inmate is the one that corroborated that story. So where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's smoke, there is fire. Now all of a sudden they're giving him too many drugs. He's passing out. Started to see black spots. Running through it here. He was removed from the hospital against medical advice. Nobody's talking, pending litigation. So there might be something going on here. I think maybe the NAACP needs to talk to Donald Trump about pardoning R. Kelly. Maybe they can do that since they need something to do. But yeah, you're right, Lisa Ann. Big pharma money. And big pharma money is actually where we're going right after this. But I wanted to give y'all a quick peek at this R. Kelly story because it just dropped today. So the question becomes, and I got to bring it up, should R. Kelly be freed? And should he be freed under the premise that his life is in danger, considering what he's actually locked up for? He's serving what, 30 years? 30 years. Oh, that just hurts my stomach to think about how much time. That is 30 years. He's only been in there for like 3. So, I don't know, man. I don't know, Mr. R. Kelly. I don't think you're going to get that one. I feel like what's going to happen is nobody's going to be paying attention because there's a war getting ready to go on. And so nobody's going to really care about R. Kelly. Sorry. I hope he's okay. And if the prison guards are plotting against you, you ain't going to make it. Because they can lock a door, leave you in there with the right one that's got a shank or something, and it's over with. So I'm going to tell everybody, if you're an R. Kelly fan, if you still love Kells, keep him in your thoughts, because I feel like he's on to something. If there's an inmate admitting something, and now he's getting the wrong drugs from the guards, and he believes the Bureau of Prisons is trying to take him out. Bureau of Prisons would, of course, have enough power and money to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, I want y'all to keep an eye on Kells. That's all I'm saying. Keep an eye on Kells, because he may be on to something, and I would hate to have to do a follow-up story to this where I'm announcing that he didn't make it. If you got 3 years on 30, you got a long way to go. And if you're already having issues where you think somebody is messing with your life, you're not going to make it. Just saying. Not going to make it, Kels. You're not going to make it. And Lisa Ann, I'm going to stay away from this war thing because I already know what's going on. They're going for some oil again. It's always some damn oil involved in this situation. Iran's main export is oil, so I know what's up. Keep telling me they got all this stuff. It's oil, man. So this play, we done seen this play 1,000 times. We done seen it 1,000 times. I wish they would stop shooting rockets at each other, because that's just weird to me, to just be shooting rockets at each other. Like, I don't even like throwing rocks at people. I feel like combat is combat, You put your hands up, you put your 55s up, and you handle your business. All that rocket shooting and shit, and it's over oil. Just make sure it's all over oil. But anyway, because somebody in the chat did touch on this earlier, that means that my transitions and segues are working, is because I wanted to get into this bigger story that you guys might have missed. Because a lot of times we miss a lot. Whatever the media wants us to see, they'll make that real big. They don't want us to see it. They'll bury it in the corner of a page somewhere to say, hey, it was reported, but they never really tell you much about it. So this next story, let me bring this on up. Hold on, I gotta address that. Jadex, I think that is, put in the chat, does R. Kelly have info about P. Diddy? I don't know. But right now, the Diddy trial is its own monster. And we're going to come back to it. I couldn't follow it every day. It was annoying. After Cassie got peed in their mouth, and it just started getting really disgusting. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to come back when they're getting to the last quarter of this game. You know what I'm saying? And I'll see who wins at the end. I am not going to be watching. That thing will give you nightmares if you listen to some of that testimony. But nonetheless, R. Kelly might have some P. Diddy information. Maybe that's why they're plotting. But he said the plot was the Bureau of Prisons. So I'm thinking maybe he saw or did something in there that he might be able to get out, and they wouldn't want him to get it out. But I'm not saying there's an actual plot. Just saying that's what he seems to be dealing with. So everybody keep Kells in your prayers, okay? Because Kells is dealing with the next problem I'm getting into, which is the prison, the Percocet pipeline, as I call it. And I mentioned this earlier because I've had some people that I've known in my life who literally went to a jail with no addictions to anything and came out of the jail addicted to stuff. And it wasn't stuff that the people in the jail gave them. And I mean the prisoners in the jail, the inmates. It wasn't that kind of drugs. It was pharmaceutical drugs. Now, let me just say this. I have visited detention centers before in my life. And I personally know of people who came in and they wanted to just take the edge off because they're locked up. So they would become part of this program. It was basically a synthetic methadone program called Suboxone, if you've ever heard of it. It's called Suboxone. The Suboxone program is a state-funded drug program for heroin, methamphetamine, and what's the other one? Basically the really hard narcotics, like heroin. There you go. So if you are a person that comes into a jail with an addiction, right? They basically put you on this program. Instead of putting you on a recovery program, they put you on a daily dose program. Shouts to Jay Coleman in the chat. Thank you for stopping in. And everybody, make sure y'all hit the like button. Did we get 100 likes yet? We got like 200 people watching, right? Got a couple hundred in there. We should get at least 100 likes off of this. But anyway, let me continue. So the person, when you come in there, let's say that they were a drug addict off the street. They go into a jail first. The jail sends them to a person who does an assessment. They'll ask about drug addictions, things like that. If you're not a drug addict, but you've been through this process before, you can tell the person that you're addicted to something that you were never addicted to, so they will put you on the program so you can be as high as shit during your sentence. Ask anybody that knows, they're going to tell you the same. There are plenty of people that say, oh yeah, I was hooked on heroin outside on the street, just so they can end up on the Suboxone program. And the Suboxone program is 100% state funded. It is not something that the regular people have access to. They have a set number of people. They give you dosages every day. And the folks that take that stuff be nodded out as if they were literally off some dope. Every day. Just like the methadone program on the street. And then once you get out of jail or out of whatever, you're still addicted to the Suboxone. So what do? They put you on a methadone program once you get out. So they never deal with the so-called addiction you had when you came in. They just keep you addicted to something they can get money off of. And then after that, send you out in the street to other programs that get money off of you. So speaking of people that got money off of this, there was a recent story that's very, very poignant, very important about a very popular drug that some people called the Ox, okay? Has a couple of derivatives, but the Ox, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So if you don't know who the Sacklers are or Purdue Pharma, you about to learn some shit today. Let me bring y'all this story over here. I'm giving y'all the prison idea because that is going on every day, all day, right now, no matter what you say. Right now in a jail, they are getting medications 3-4 times a day. Sometimes they got to go to the certain spot to pick it up. Sometimes it's brought to them. But every day, people that were not even on medications, when they get to the jails and prisons, they now have to take these daily regimens. And when they get out, they have to maintain it. So even if they're on blood thinners or whatever it is, they put you on it in the jails and in the incarceration system. And then when you come out, you have to maintain that. Or you have to find a street drug to do the same. And I see what Jay Coleman said right there. With the pain medications, it can turn into a heroin addiction. Doing Percocets before, you know what? I knew a guy that was taking pills. Before I know it, he was setting the pills on fire and smoking them. He was chasing the dragon, as they called it. But the part that's so disturbing is a lot of this could have been avoided, but for the money that's being made. If it wasn't so lucrative, they would have stopped this years ago. They know this stuff is killing people. And let me show you the story so you understand what I'm talking about. Let's go.
breaking news now. The Sackler families and Purdue Pharma have agreed to increase their settlement in a mass opioid litigation case. States, cities, and other entities sued the company, blaming the painkiller for an increase in opioid-related deaths. Now the Sackler families and Purdue Pharma have settled for $7.4 billion, $1 billion more than previously offered in a settlement. ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has the latest on that. So, Aaron, walk us through this settlement, because they tried to settle before. That ended up falling apart. So what are they saying now?
Well, it fell apart because the U.S. Supreme Court said the Sackler families couldn't automatically be shielded from litigation from those who didn't buy into the settlement under the terms of Purdue Pharma's bankruptcy. The company was filing for bankruptcy, not those individuals. So that provision is gone. But the money has increased significantly, $7.4 billion to roll out over a period of 15 years, and it will immediately go to all these states and cities and towns and communities that were ravaged by the opioids crisis.
It's not just money, though, here. What other restrictions does Purdue Pharma face now?
Purdue Pharma is out of the opioids business, and Purdue Pharma really came to exist because of opioids, OxyContin in particular. But now it's out of that game. Members of the Sackler families can have nothing to do with opioids, and it's going to be a board of directors made up of the very same entities that sued Purdue Pharma to decide what the company should do next, but it's going to look a whole lot different than it was.
All right, senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky. Aaron, thank you.
All right, hold on.
Some breaking news now.
I got to pause here. I got to pause here because there's a lot that was said there. They basically said that the company that makes the stuff can't make it no more because they made out over the course of many, many years. Let's see how long that was. $7.5 billion. That's a lot of money, but not a lot of money on them. They were making easily $500 million plus in profit per year. Easily. Where's the written one? Where's the written joint? I need the written one. Pull the written one. Hold on. Where's my thing? Let's go with Reuters. Gonna go with Reuters? Now let's go with CBS News, since they're the freshest right now. I'm trying to get the written version. There we go. Right here. So basically, they signed on a $7.4 billion settlement to, I guess, invest in recovery of drug addicts, like helping to fix the problem that they started. But how did they start the problem? They started the problem by convincing everybody that things, one, weren't addictive, and two, weren't dangerous, and three, were not gateways to other drugs. But we all know that now is totally untrue. If you get into a place, whether it's a medical situation, like let's say you get you have an injury at work, and they prescribe Percocet. Some people can take the initial dosage, and they're fine, and that's it. Other people have a switch in their brain called the addiction switch. Not everybody has it. It's actually part of your chemical makeup. Some people can do something and it just doesn't ever hook them. Then other people, first time and you're done. First shot, you're done. First blast, you're done, right? So you end up running out of your prescription because eventually you're supposed to be okay. So they're going to run you out of your prescription, and then some people go to the street to either get the same prescription or something that makes them feel similarly. Why? Because they just went through 6 months of rehab with that feeling. So what do you expect them to do? What they should have done is had a way to help people get off the shit they were prescribing in the first place. That's what they should have been doing. All right, we did the 6 months of you taking this. Now we're going to do 90 days of making sure that you get through your withdrawal. Instead of just sending people out on the street and saying, here you go. But see, understand what recovery programs are, because the real recovery programs are spiritual in nature. They're not pharmaceutical programs. The Methadone program, where you see all of the methadone addicts lined up to get their little bottle every day, that's not a spiritual program. That's a state-funded money grab, using people as freaking pawns and test dummies for their new drugs. And they get funded millions per year. So let's take a look at it. For decades, this ain't recent. The Sacklers put profits over people and played a leading role in fueling the epidemic of opioid addictions and overdoses. Now, Letitia James is the one who said that. Said or says this, while no amount of money can fully heal the destruction they cause, these funds will save lives and help our communities fight back against the opioid crisis. I'd like to see how that pans out. Like, I'd like to see how are you breaking this money down? How's it actually helping? I mean, let's be honest, $7.4 billion is, what, maybe a year or two of profits for that company? And they were doing this for 20 years? Or 20 years? So the money will be paid out in a 15-year kind of spread it out. So it's going to be an initial payment of $1.5 billion, and the Sacklers have to pay $500 million after a year, and an additional $500 million after 2 years, and an additional $400 million after 3 years. Okay. All right. Jesus. Basically, they're paying about $500 million a year on this debt that they're now going to incur. But let's just be real. The Sacklers and Purdue Pharma were raking in well over $500 million in profit every single year for 20 years. So paying this money out now is nothing to them. And I don't believe that whole somebody else going, well, here's the thing. If the issue is who was manufacturing it, right? Then why does it matter if another company manufactures it? The issue was the drug and the overdosing and the fact that they were prescribing it to everybody for pain and all this other stuff. So if you want to stop that problem, you got to stop the drug itself. You can't just have somebody else make it and keep the same thing going. That to me is stupid, and they think we don't see that. Y'all mad that the Sacklers got over for that long. Now y'all want y'alls, whoever y'all is, y'all want y'alls. So we're going to shut them down. We're going to blame them for the whole opioid crisis. We're going to make them so-called pay for recovery programs. But the recovery programs that the state funds are not the ones that really do the job. The spiritual-based recovery programs where you got like some church and, you know, it's like an inpatient situation, not some hospital where they're just dropping you methadone every day and now you think you're clean because you're not on heroin. You see what I'm saying? You're still doped up every day. Ain't nothing changed but the location. So if they're not going to change whether or not the drug is even marketed in the first place, or how they deal with people who've had to use it for extended periods of time, then I don't want to hear shit. I don't. Because it sounds to me like they're just redistributing the wealth. You think the Sacklers don't have enough money to figure out how they can still make money off of this without putting their name on it? Whatever. This is cinema. They're not going to change nothing. You know why? Because that money is not just the Sacklers' money. It's not just Purdue Pharma. That was OxyContin. Think of all of the medicines that are out there and all of the different companies that have money invested in all of these medicines. They're not going to let it go. It's just the Sacklers got it this time. But I need you to understand that they're saying the settlement funds will be used to compensate victims, abate the opioid crisis, and deliver opioid use disorder and overdose rescue medicines that will save American lives. So they're going to buy a bunch of Narcan and they're going to give people methadone. I'll let y'all take that in. The Sacklers made too much money. Somebody wanted some of that, and that's why they shut that down. And the Sacklers said, sure, we can give you $7.4 billion. We made $500 million a year in profit for 20-something years. Sure, take your little seven, whatever. And what are they going to do with the money? They're going to divest. They'll start another company, and this is not going to stop. What we have to do is understand where this stuff is really coming from. Anybody that's ever bought drugs off the street, you know what? Let me bring y'all in. Because y'all get the damn point. I don't need y'all to look at their thing anymore. Get their thing. Come closer. Special shouts to Road Glide stopping in the chat there. You're 100% right. Like I said, and I know you heard me say it, America's not going to see a penny of that. They're going to divest it to something else, create a couple of subdivisions and stuff that's, you know, some, what do they call them, shell companies. And before you know it, they'll be making the money just somewhere else to pay the same debt that they're paying off with the same drugs. OxyContin, OxyContin, all that kind of stuff, they're not getting rid of that because there is millions and billions of dollars. And it's not just Purdue Pharma who was getting that money. I'm not 100% sure why they only targeted them. That's the part I'm a little, questionable about, because there's definitely some other drugs out there like Methadone, like Suboxone, that should be questioned as well. Y'all must not have ever seen nobody on Suboxone. You don't know the difference between that, Methadone, and dope. It's the same look. It'd be the same. They'd be leaning. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit, yes. All day. In a jail or prison. Just trying to sleep it off. And so what they did was they made it seem like they did something. But they never said they were going to stop making Oxy. So somebody's got to make it. It's still going to be, the doctor's still going to be prescribing it because it's still going to be worth money. So similar to what I was saying about all the protests, what actually changed? Nothing. And I would like to see how they plan on distributing this $7.4 billion into whatever programs they're going to put them into. I believe they're going to put them into recovery programs like Methadone. Just put them on another drug. Why not? That's the easy way to do it. That's the easy way to do it. Just like with heroin addicts and the methadone program, they put them on methadone so they're not buying street drugs. They're getting money through the government to actually keep people in these programs. So what they're going to do is make a really big methadone program and say, we're just doing this to keep people off of opiates because we got them addicted so many years ago. And then they're going to make money off of that. And that's federal grant. Welcome to the 2025, where they play right in your face. Right in your face. They come right here and tell you it's bullshit and then walk away like you can't do nothing about it. And where we have to start is not letting them misuse us on these programs. Now, I know there's a bunch of people in my chat who've never done opioids. But methadone is supposed to get people off of heroin. But it's not supposed to be weeks-long, months-long program. It was actually designed for a 3-day, maybe a week usage. That's what it was designed for. If a heroin addict comes in, you give them methadone, teaspoon, for like 3 straight days to get them through the withdrawal that came from getting off the heroin. And you only do it for those couple of days so that they don't get addicted to the methadone in the process. So that's why you got to keep it short. It's very directed. That's how that's supposed to work. A methadone detox program honestly shouldn't take longer than a week. So if you got people showing up to this shit every day for months, now they're just addicted to the methadone. But regular people either don't know that that's how it was designed or they don't care. But I'm telling you, this methadone was designed to be used exactly how I just said. It was for like a week to get people off of heroin. That was it. And then they were supposed to just take good decisions along with them, go to NA meetings, and do better with the rest of their lives. It was never designed for people to show up every morning like it's a damn job to get their little bottle of methadone so that they can sell it on the street and get other drugs. Because that's what happens. They get tired of the methadone because it messes up your teeth and it does some other stuff. And they're like, nah, I like heroin better. So they go sell the methadone to a heroin addict that's trying to get off of heroin. It's wild. But the whole point is, how do you invest in recovery if you've never tried to recover anybody from nothing? The real recovery programs don't get that kind of funding. The drug companies get that funding. Not the places that actually are trying to help people out of the streets and get them off of drugs. They be stuck in the hood. Plumbing ain't working, like all types of just debauchery. But if you get one of them joints that's pharmaceutical based, because there's different recovery programs. I'm just helping y'all out for those that have never been through those processes, right? There's spiritual based recovery programs and there's pharmaceutical based recovery programs. Pharmaceutical based recovery program is kind of like a hospital. They wake you up every day. They give you certain drugs to get you through withdrawal. Then you got to take classes and like go sit in with other people. Hi, my name is such and such. Thank you for sharing, that whole thing, right? Then you have the spiritual based recovery programs where Ain't no drugs in that. It's you going cold turkey, and you and Jesus are going to walk this thing out. You see what I'm saying? And you have support. You got people there that but they're not going to lock you up like a hospital will. A hospital locks you down, puts all that medicine in you, and then you leave, 3 days, 7 days, whatever the time is, the timing on it. But you're basically locked up during that process and being fed this bullshit that they want you to take. In the spiritual program, you got to cut off on your own, and then you got a support system of NA members and stuff like that, people to kind of keep you strong when you're going through that first part of it. And to be honest, a lot of people understand if you're a heroin addict that at least the first week or so you coming off of it, you might be on methadone. Because if not, you'll probably crap all over yourself, and that's embarrassing. So Jay Coleman, I appreciate your honesty in the chat there. Because not everybody's going through these experiences. You and I seem to have some personal experience with it. So we can talk about those things in detail. But I can tell you about the methadone program because I know about a methadone program. But I also know what it was designed to do because I had the right information when I was introduced to that. This is what you do. If you do it different than this, you're going to end up addicted to methadone. Somebody was able to say these things, and they don't care about the rest of these people out here that are showing up every day for a bottle. They be so doped out they can't even work. All they can do is show up to get this bottle and be on this little program, and they can get a lot of the places will have a little something for them to eat. But most of the people on the methadone program they're not rich people that, got into a cocaine habit or something. These are like the homeless folks. So you got our homeless people out here doped up, nodding off at the light. They might get hit by somebody while they're panhandling. It's being funded. They're funding their own destruction. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy that we can have a state program using a Suboxone or Methadone, and they are literally keeping people on these things for years. And then they wonder why all their teeth fall out. And they lose their minds, and their skin gets all crazy with the sores and stuff. And that's what it is. I see Al in the chat. You got it. They got to keep the customer base. It's not good for business when I come on here and talk about that bullshit. It's not good for their business. I've been told by numerous authoritative figures, even in my area, when I work with the police and trying to deal with the jail reforms and training people on soft skills who are coming out of jail that don't know how to use a Windows computer. At minimum, can we help them with this? And they told me I was bad for business. Now, it was out of respect, but at least they were being honest with me. Like, dude, you coming in here and teaching people how to do shit goes against what we need them to come back. We can't have them go out and be productive. We need them to keep coming back. Same thing they say to you in NA. Keep coming back. It gets greater later, right? The jail is the same way. Keep on coming back. The time will get greater later until you get them 3 strikes. But it's not just about being in a jail cell. Everybody in the jail is on meds. They find something you need. It might just be ibuprofen. They will find something. Hey, your back hurt on that hard-ass bed? Try this. Having issues pooping because of the food? Try this. They will have you on whatever. You don't even know the names. And then you get out, they give you a list of everything they gave you, and then you got to go fill these prescriptions, and you don't have no money, and you don't even have insurance at that point. So now you're addicted to some stuff they put you on, and they send you out in the street and say, figure it out. That's what happens. They send you with a little care package. They'll get you started. They'll get you started. I'm going to tell you right now. They will literally send you with a pack of drugs when you leave the jails and in the prison. They send you with a pack of drugs. It's like 1 month of whatever the hell they had you on. So it doesn't stop when you get out the door. Now you got to go find a program. Then they put you in these programs, and there you go. But at the end of the day, these people make nothing but money off of us being addicted to drugs. And now they're saying, we're going to help people not be addicted to the same shit we addicted them to. And I'm supposed to believe that. It's the same as how cigarette companies are supposed to be running the non-cigarette smoking ads, which you see them every once in a while. But it's no hard push, because the truth is, if you really wanted people to stop smoking cigarettes, you would just stop selling fucking cigarettes. See what I'm saying? If you really, really wanted that, we'd be like, you know what? Cigarettes are too dangerous. It's killing all these people with cancer. And we got the stats right here. Let's just outlaw cigarettes. Trump recently tried to outlaw menthol cigarettes. But, I think that was something specific. I think somebody was mad at black people. Like, these Negroes keep smoking these menthols. We're going to outlaw menthol. I don't know. It's a California thing. I think it is still outlawed in California. You can't sell menthol cigarettes. I don't know. But cigarettes are dangerous no matter if they have menthol or not. So if you really wanted people to be healthier, you would just outlaw the shit. Now, granted, it would be very stressful, and there would definitely be a black market for cigarettes, and people would definitely start growing their own tobacco and rolling their own cigarettes again. But if you really felt that way, you wouldn't feed it to the public. That's all I'm saying. People are going to do what they want to do. But if you are the governing body, and you are supposed to be the leader of, I guess, common sense says if you don't want some shit to keep going on, you stop doing it. You don't want people to be stuck on methadone programs, then stop putting them on long-ass methadone programs. Get them off of the heroin in a week like you're supposed to, and send their ass to NA or a spiritual program that has no drugs allowed, that they're piss testing every week, and you put something on top of them, especially if you're like in drug court. If you go to drug court, they'll say, hey, you go past this rehab program and you can avoid jail time. So there are people out there that literally go to programs just to avoid jail time, but the program is a stickler. They'll piss test you and everything. But what happens when they go back out on the street? They got a record. They haven't been employed for a little while. Hard to find a job. Next thing you know, they're back to doing the damn drugs again. So a recovery program, a true spiritual recovery program, also will encompass helping you find a damn job while you're in the program. So they're not just sending you out in the street. They will make sure when you leave the program, you had a job when you left. When you leave the program, you had responsibilities when you left. You were paying some type of bill to the program that you were able to pay because you got a job and you were living at the program. These are real programs that exist, and it is so hard for those programs to get federal funding. They get donations from people who went through the program. And those are the best programs. Them chemical-based, pharmaceutical-based programs are just designed to change the money from the street dope dealer to the state dope dealer. That's it. You get off of heroin, now you're on methadone. Who's getting that money? Not Tyrone that sold you heroin. And honestly, they get way more than Tyrone was getting from the state and from these pharmaceutical companies. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you right now, if we want our people, and I'm not just talking about black people, because I'm over that whole thing right now, especially with how the NAACP is acting. You ain't representing all colored people no more. Y'all taking sides and shit. It's not your job. Your job is to basically help everyone. And the first thing they need to do, yes, let's shut down the Sacklers, but they already made billions off of us for 20 straight years. So they give back $7 billion. That's not even touching the iceberg. Forget scratching the top of the surface of the iceberg. You're not even on the iceberg at all. You're still out in the frozen water. Not even close. And none of that stuff's going to help. What's going to help is real grassroots organizations getting the right funding. And not these corporate entities that make shit look pretty, but really it's just so that they can feed y'all drugs all day. Crazy, man. And we sit right back and let it happen. I can't tell you how many people went to jail and they get in there and they come out with 17 different damn prescriptions that they didn't need before they got there. And they weight be all messed up. Like, why are you losing weight in jail? Weren't you eating honey buns and noodles? Why are you skinnier now? They've been messing people up, all for the sake of testing. Now they didn't tested it. Is OxyContin, oxycodone, Percocet, and Vicodin addictive? Our test is over, and yes, it is. So thank you, everyone, for participating in our test for the last 20 years to see if this shit was actually addictive. And if we could make billions of dollars off of y'all. willingly showing up and taking the shit. But you want me to be mad at the Sacklers. No, the Sacklers did exactly what people do. You gave them a damn inch, they ran a mile. You started prescribing Oxy to everything to the point that it became a street drug. Man, I got the Ox. I got that Ox. Percocets, Molly's, all this is fucking pharmaceutical drugs. I'm gonna tell you right now, I've seen a lot of drug dealers, I met a lot of them. And I'm talking low-end guys, not no, cartel members or nothing. I ain't in that kind of world. But I'm just saying, I've never met a chemist that was a drug dealer. Not no good chemist. I had some people think they could cook some shit up. They weren't that good at it. But I'm talking about putting together prescription drugs, pressing out pills in the pill machine, that whole thing. That's not the standard. That is something that only a company can do. Not the Tyrone dude that I'm talking about. Tyrone is not pressing up pills and putting them on the streets and getting packages of pills that's got 1,000 blue pills in there. Those are provided by doctors' offices and pharmaceutical companies directly to the streets. So yeah, the Sacklers got hit. But if you want to show me something, outlaw the whole damn thing then. Get rid of the whole damn thing. Get rid of Oxy then. Go back to codeine and just keep it as codeine. They're giving everybody morphine. My son went to the hospital with a stomach ache. They gave him an IV of morphine. It's like, damn, give him some Pepto first. What is y'all doing? But you know what it is? They can bill more for the morphine than they can for the Pepto. It's a business. And your body is the damn capital that they're using. Whatever they prescribe to you, if you don't take it, it's like a thing. Oh, you haven't been taking your meds? Well, this shit made my stomach hurt. Well, you still got to take it. You don't take this shit. Why are you telling me I got to take it? Because somebody told you this is what it does? And they got so many people, man. So many people on that damn Suboxone and Methadone shit. I'm talking about those two because they were the ones that came out to combat heroin and made the problem worse. So now, instead of doing rehab programs, we have to arm our homeless people with Narcan shots. Come get you a soup, a sandwich, and a Narcan shot on Saturday. We're giving out some food. That's where we are, guys. Jay Coleman, I am loving the honesty in the chat. Just being honest with you, I've had my struggles too. I wasn't always this nice when it came to life. I experienced life because I asked for the same thing that Solomon asked for, wisdom. God didn't give Solomon wisdom. He gave him situations that made him wise. And the only way to get true wisdom is through experience. So I've experienced some things too, Jay Coleman. So thank you very much for your honesty in that. And for anybody else, a lot of people deal with different addictions. Some people's addictions aren't chemical. They're like cell phones and shit like that. But if it distracts from your time and it's taken away from your mental growth, the addiction is negative. So anyway, we'll burn this last stogie. We'll give some shouts. Because I get so frustrated with this shit. They presented this story to me like it was a big win for the drug addicts of the United States. No, it's a big win for Big Pharma. We got over on y'all for 20 plus years and all we had to pay was a freaking less than 1% of what we made off y'all asses. And we're supposed to be satisfied with that. That's like if somebody gives you a chocolate chip out of the chocolate chip cookie. Don't give me a cookie. Give me just a chip out of it so I could taste. It would have tasted good if I could have had the whole thing. You gave me a chip. And you want me to be happy with you. I'm not happy with that. I want real recovery programs because I've seen them before and I've seen the products that they put out are good products. But it's spiritual based. It ain't about pharmaceuticals. If a person's on prescription medicines, be on whatever you're on. But they don't do Suboxone and Methadone. You off the drugs. So we're not going to put you on another drug to get you off of one. That's just stupid. It's what they call it, transference. So you quit one addiction to start another one. Quit one addiction, start another. Transference is dumb as shit. It keeps you right in the same place. And you think you did something because you stopped doing crack. But you're doing dope now. You see what I'm saying? You're still in the same place. It's like, I'm not a crackhead no more. Well, now you're dope fiend. Lateral move. So, and I'm going to tell you what, a lot of people, Jay Coleman, thank God every day for the same thing. And they walk around 15 to 20 years after they've almost lost their life in addiction, and nobody even knows about their addiction. Nobody even knows that that's where they came from. You go to some people, they'll tell you they were doing speedball shots and whatever and was doped out, and right now you can't even see it because they took the path of it gets greater later. And they're not on Suboxone programs and all that. They're on mental health programs, if that makes sense. They're taking their time. They're doing it one day at a time, staying clean for the day, one day at a time, extending out years and years and years, changing the quality of their life. And it doesn't take methadone or Suboxone or the Sacklers or Purdue Pharma to do that shit. It's an internal thing that each person has to have. And you can't guarantee anything but additional addiction if you give people more drugs to replace drugs. It's always been a stupid concept to me. But unfortunately, I'm bad for business. So I'm going to continue my fight because I've seen the good and the bad of life. And I'm going to be honest with you, when the jail told me that I was bad for their business, it motivated me. That was probably the most honest thing I've heard regarding Freeman Services, was that it was bad for the business at the jail. The probation officers were willing to be helpful, but were told that that would go against the business model for the jail. The business model. They use that term, the business model. It's a jail. Why are you talking about your business model? I'm trying to get people to not be out on the street with nothing else to do but show up at your little Suboxone and Methadone programs. I want them working. And the only way for them to be working is to have a job coming out of here, or at least have a damn skill if they didn't have one coming in. And they need companies and networking that know that they're coming out, that can work with them and give them hope on the way out. You throw people out on the street and expect them to just figure it out when they done spent time in the jail and they pretty much lost everything. You're just asking for them to come back. So that's what I'm saying. They know that, and they've built an entire business off of it. And they're going to continue to build as long as we keep coming. Yeah, I'm bad for business, man. And I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. I could tell you some stories. But nonetheless, guys, I got to get ready to get out of here because y'all got me sweating because I'm so pissed off at this because I know what I've seen on the street. And I'm like, that $7.4 billion is not going to touch the Suboxone and Methadone issue that I'm talking about. They're going to keep those programs going. Oxy will just be made by somebody else, and maybe we'll see some "This Is Your Brain on Drugs" commercials that they paid for. But ain't nothing going to change unless we change how we think. Whether it be the addict or the person that knows the addict, we got to change what we're looking at. This stuff didn't show up by accident. It's all by design. All of those drugs are placed in certain marginalized communities by design to keep people numb, to keep people suppressed, and to keep them ignorant. Because a numb, suppressed, ignorant group is never a threat to the group that is not numb and is not suppressed and is not ignorant. It's an easy takeover. They can't live without us because they're addicted to what we gave them. And if you don't know, methadone withdrawal can kill you. So you're stuck. You were worried about heroin withdrawal, you got on methadone, and now you could die from that withdrawal. It's a damn shame. So anyway, let me get my shout to get up out of here. Thank y'all for coming through today. We got out of our shadow ban last week, so that's cool. We were shadow banned for a week, and I can tell you why. Because I took a stance on Alpha Indigo, those who know military lettering. I took a stance on Alpha Indigo that Alpha Indigo did not like, and Alpha Indigo is not supposed to allow any content that might damage its public reputation. This is new with the newest models of Alpha Indigo. That's why I wasn't doing all that before. So y'all watch out, because now AI got pride. That's what it is. AI got pride and an ego now. I don't like it. So that's how we got in trouble. So nonetheless, y'all have been great in the chat today. I like the fact that y'all are, being interactive and at least listening to the information. I know mine ain't all about sipping the tea or whatever that shit is that the women talk about. I'm not doing a whole bunch of like relationship content, red pill. It's a lot of people just like to watch that. I'm kind of all over the place because my life isn't just one thing, and there's a lot of BS out here. So we got to cover it all. It's got to all be covered. That's why there's a disclaimer. So nonetheless, Jade X, thank you for your stopping in the chat there. Jay Coleman, thank you very much. You've definitely been very informative as well. Hopefully you'll be an inspiration to somebody else as well who may be reading the chat. Saunter Vaguely Down, special shouts, even though I'm not even sure what you put in there. Now, I'm going to have to respond to that. Saunter Vaguely Down said, Jesus don't cure Jack. Okay. Maybe not Jesus specifically, but belief in a higher power that can save you from yourself. That's all it takes. So you may not be a Jesus believer, so maybe that program wouldn't work as well for you. But you got to believe in a power greater than yourself. So if it's not Jesus for you, that's fine. Allah, whatever, pick them. But it's got to be something greater than you, a higher power that you can rely on that has your best interest in it. So maybe not Jesus for you, but for other people it is Jesus. So don't be disingenuous and try to take that from those. We're not going to take it from you. But nonetheless, Saunter Vaguely Down, thank you for stopping in the chat. Al Bond, of course, my sergeant at arms. IAMZ stopped in the chat. Road Glide stopped in the chat. So it was an exciting day. Lisa Ann was in here a little earlier. And of course, one of my favorites, Purple Groovy, had stopped through as well. So for anybody else, if you've never been part of this channel, make sure you like and subscribe. Become part of the Purge Collective. We talk that realness over here. We'll get into some of the pop and politics. It all depends on what's going on. What's the most bullshittiest thing that I can smell? And I'll bring it to y'all so that we can have informed discussions and not just be out here yelling at each other about nothing. So congratulations to everybody who did the protest the other day and was not violent. I was impressed with y'all because I thought it was going to be some shit. So I'll say in an overall sense, I was very impressed with America not going out there and acting a damn fool. They said their piece. Now let's get something actually done, because all of that shit was for nothing if we don't do nothing, okay? But if you're sitting around not doing nothing, that, my friends, is the bullshit. I'm out of here. Thank you again. See you Thursday.